a documentary work. Formerly in my career I would work with video and photography, and then it became more and more physical and sculptural. And in the series that I'm also showing here in the gallery, I collect actual materials from buildings that are being demolished or are kind of being redone. And I also often try to make a link to the present or through several layers of time. So in this case, I got little pieces of glass from the windows of this disused bone factory. And I strapped them together, each of them with these steel strapping bands that I used, always with a contemporary, like with a new layer of glass. So you have the history of a place and its present or future, and it's a kind of a portrait of the place through time.
Near the neighborhood that we are now, there was this Fábrica de Ossos who will work on Thursdays, and it will have a very strong smell. And then I talked to other people that knew Porto 20, 30 years ago and before the time I was here, and they remember that smell. So I think you choose inadvertently, or perhaps you tell us it was on purpose, something that has a very big anchor on the history, the past industrial history of the city, and that reminds a lot in the memories of people that live here.
My project with collecting parts of materials of buildings that are gone is almost an encyclopedic idea. It's kind of an inventory of all the materials that our world is made from. It's quite interesting how the works and the projects trigger memories and bring up places that I cannot include. My work is very much about missed opportunities and missed chances. It should make visible or somehow grasp this enormous energy of change, a deeply fundamental human desire for change. And this can be very violent, but it is also the source of all dynamic and of creativity.
You're bringing a point that is very interesting, which is if there is something that is permanent in human life is change. And the only thing that is for sure in nature is change. And you concentrate on architectural remains and debris. It's a very good memory of the past, but also like a memory for the future, because whatever we build now is going to be a ruin tomorrow.
I think that's very true, and so that's why it's also very important for me to have these elements from the present in the works, because it's both about things that we don't see. We don't see the things that are gone. Often people only realize something is missing when they don't see it anymore, then they realize. And we also don't see the things that are right now around us.
Also you have work that has to do with the graphism of the city, with the spatial location. Can you tell us a little bit more about those works?
So what I do in this other series is that I cut out buildings from maps, from tourist maps. So we don't have a fragment of a building, but we have a whole building, but it is reduced to a kind of icon or logo. So I look at what kind of buildings are seen worthy to include in a tourist map. And this is also something that changes over time. Well, I think at the core of my work is an interest or an investigation of what constitutes identity. Okay. Local identity, sometimes national identity. And then there's this other layer that I feel is often left out of this idea, which is the materiality of the city and the tactility and, I don't know, touching things and how they look. Cities have very different materials and pavements and facades. And it is also a kind of inventory of that, to look at what constitutes an atmosphere and how does it shape behavior even, or style and history and all these things.
I'm really moved by this idea of associating the architecture with the identity that the society as a whole want to project, but also us as individuals want to project of ourselves.
I think there's much more to discover in Porto, and I wouldn't even claim that this, the title claims to this exhibition to be about Porto, but it is just it's just reaching a hand to the visitors, but it's about very diverse geographies.
Because you're teasing us of the beginning of a dialogue with the city of Porto, so there might be many more to come in the future.
you.